Joining us now, retired Air Force Brigadier General and Newsmax contributor Blaine Holt, former Trump National Security Council Chief of Staff and Executive Secretary Fred Fleitz, and former Naval Intelligence Officer John Jordan. Gentlemen, good to see all three of you. General, I'm going to start with you. What do you make of these talks? Progress seems to be made, but then we're getting reports that Russia is still bombing Ukraine, hitting infrastructures. Your thoughts?
Well, they both swapped ordnance last night. We don't know how that worked out. The talks on the surface it's not everything we hoped for, but it is progress that they are talking and they are starting to work towards something that can lay a platform for what the actual back and forth is going to look like. The biggest win for the discussion, in my view, was that Russia had pledged to work with the United States on Middle Eastern issues and help with Iran. That's huge in my book, and we're going to normalize relations amongst the top two nuclear powers that need to be talking all the time, quite frankly. Now, get down to the tactical part of the battlefield. Did somebody breach orders? Did somebody break orders and fire stuff? That always can happen in the early moments after a ceasefire. Don't forget also that Russia lost control of the Wagner group last year when Prigozhin went on his tirade. And so things aren't always so orderly on the Russian side.
Yeah, Fred, do you think that Putin's going to stick to his promise here, or do you think he's trying to work President Trump?
Well, I agree with General Holt. I think these are generally positive talks because the U.S. and Russian presidents should be talking. The last time Biden talked to Putin was February 2022. I think it's very dangerous. And look, U.S.-Russia relations were in very bad shape because of Biden. Remember, Biden once referred to Putin as Hamas. I mean, the relationship was terrible. I'm concerned about yesterday because Putin said things that are not conducive to peace, that Ukraine has to be disarmed, that it can't receive weapons, it can't receive intelligence. Those are deal stoppers. And I think we're going to need some aggressive intelligence to move Putin away from those positions. The fact that Ukraine was attacked, there were energy facilities were attacked overnight by Russia, I think is a very bad sign. I hope some general was taking action without authority from Moscow. I'm happy that the meeting took place yesterday. I think there was progress, but I think there's a long way to go to get a ceasefire or a peace agreement.
John, your take.
Yeah, I think that Putin is under more pressure economically than has been widely reported. Russian inflation is at 21%. They have massive labor shortage. Russia is very hard to pull, but I suspect that he is concerned about political stability, economic stability and for his own regime, because he needs to stay in power to survive this. But that doesn't mean there's an immediate threat to him. He's going to try to extract the best possible deal. Everybody, all sides know, the Europeans, even though they're not involved, the Ukrainians, us, and the Russians know more or less the contours of this. Right now, it's a lot of like details being working out, people trying to seek incremental advantage. But more to the point, Putin and Zelenskyy need to appear that they have done better than they need to appear a certain way for their own audiences in Ukraine and in Russia, respectively, so that they can survive going forward, because neither side can afford politically a serious loss of faith in certain constituencies in Moscow or Kiev. But I think we're making progress here. It's going to be bumpy, like General Holt and Fred said. There's going to be, but this is progress. And then end to this is going to happen because it has to happen.
General, I want to turn to this from moving forward with the ceasefire to a ceasefire collapsing. We're turning, of course, to Israel, who has resumed heavy bombing of Hamas and Gaza. We also learned today that Israel was sending ground troops back into Gaza to take the corridor that we're looking at right here, the Netzarim corridor, a key area, of course, as it cuts through the center of the Strip. Talk to me about the strategy that you're observing.
Yeah, so it's obvious to me that the Israelis have made the decision that there are no more hostages to get back on this previous deal, that it's now fallen through, and now they're hunting Hamas. They had a great job on the first day knocking out 6 key leaders with Hamas. They've convinced with their leaflet program for innocents to get out of the way. That hurts Hamas. Hamas is getting ring circled. They're in very bad shape. And I think it's a good strategy if they're going back to military operations. They certainly have our support and our intelligence this time, and most importantly, the logistics resupply. So we'll see what comes. But the hostages, it's a rescue mission now.
Bye.